So this week, Joe Rogan has been under fire by the cancel people again, because basically they went and dug up. He said some shit about Joe Biden. He basically said that Joe Biden is like a geriatric with dementia, and that people should be sort of questioning his validity as a candidate for president. And that then spurred people to go on a hunt to find things to sort of cancel Joe Rogan over. So they found this old clip of Joey Diaz, and I'm sure you guys know who Joey Diaz is. Basically on Joe Rogan's podcast telling a joke about pressuring some woman to giving him a blowjob. And Joe Rogan was sort of laughing at his anecdote, because I'm pretty sure it was a bit, right? Was it a bit, or was it like a true story?
Probably, I don't know. Like, Joey Diaz is a pretty, like, you know, he's got a pretty shady past and whatever. So like, I don't want to stand him in that way. He's a very funny comedian, and he tells very funny stories. But he's a comedian, so you don't know how much he embellishes these sorts of stories for comic effect when you're on something like the Joe Rogan Experience, especially back in 2011 when no one was fucking talking about this stuff, still making gay jokes, still doing all sorts of silly cancelable behavior. So it's also just fucking stupid and redundant. Like some shit that someone said fucking nearly 10 years ago. Dude, come on. They're trying to come after him. It's just redundant. It's ridiculous.
Well, they do it all the time, though. That's like the thing that their fucking pastime is finding old shit to fucking cancel people over.
So there was that. And like someone wrote a tweet that I thought was really funny, which was like, oh, Joe Rogan is the final boss of cancel culture. So like, speaking of video games, like he's basically like the Ganon for liberals, and like once they defeat him, they've defeated all forms of reaction on the internet. And just like the Twitter sphere, whenever Joe Rogan gets cancelled, people always try to bring women into it, as if any of us give a shit. They're like, there are all these tweets from libs that are like, I don't care if your girlfriend likes Joe Rogan, your girlfriend has internalized misogyny, like all of this like weird shit.
I saw a tweet that was literally like Joe Rogan shows that anything that's liked by just guys sucks. And like anyone who responded with like, I'm a woman and I like Joe Rogan, they're like, you don't exist. And it's like, you know, here's the thing, like, I don't listen to Joe Rogan. I think some of what he says is a bit fucking stupid. But at the same time, like, there's probably quite a few women who listen to Joe Rogan, and it's kind of it's silly to basically is it not slightly sexist too, because even the concept that there's such a thing as something that just men like, isn't that something we've been trying to stop people from saying?
Yeah. It's also fucking stupid, and like this is like when we said a few episodes ago that he's fundamentally a better person than most of these stupid idiots on Twitter. He's someone that's used his platform to like benefit many female comedians throughout the years, and like has like given them like 2 hours of time to go on his show and like tell jokes and crack stories and tell about how they are, and like promote any shows or dates they've got, and they've materially benefited from that interaction with him. So like he's someone that has actually done shit for female comedians in lots of ways. So to try and completely go for him and cancel him is just fucking stupid, to be honest. Well, especially over some shit that's 10 years old. And he's not even the one saying the fucking joke. He's just like accommodating his guest at the end of the day. I don't know if you've ever if anyone listening to this, none of you really fucking, you know, make a podcast, but if you've got a guest on, you're really not trying to be confrontational with that person, you're trying to have a conversation. And so like you want to hear them out, and if they are telling a story where they're guilty of something, maybe you're like, you know, oh, that's kind of fucked up, bro, or whatever. But you're not really going to grill them and like be like, especially in fucking 2011.
And Joe Rogan probably might not have even known if he was joking or not. Yeah, like he could have just
There's
been
a good chance he didn't know.
Yeah.
Though the real reason anyway that they went to dig this whole thing up in the first place is because of the fact that he made comments about Joe Biden. You know, people sort of perceive that as tacit support for Trump. I don't know if Joe Rogan supports Trump. At this point, I don't really care if he supports Trump or not, because I don't really care about this election that's coming up. Like, I've sort of checked out of it. I see both candidates as being despicable, and I don't think that making critiques of either of them equals any sort of tacit support. I think people are just disgusted by the option that they have in front of them, basically. But with libs, it's like you can't say that because it's like, oh, if you make any sort of critique of Biden, then you're supporting Trump. And if he wins, then it's your fault that they put kids in cages. It's your fault that everything in the world is bad because
that Joe Biden is actually involved with the putting of kids in cages.
Yeah, like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But yeah, that's the reason why. And I mean, it's been sort of a thing now that everybody's in quarantine. #MeToo is trending again today in the UK. There have been a number of different allegations that have been made, some completely true, and you know, people have been like, what's the name of the comedian that got
Chris D'Elia.
Yeah.
Good riddance. Fucking dickhead.
Chris pedophilia.
It starts spelling pedophilia with an apostrophe.
Some completely true like that in that case, and then some that are questionable, like the Justin Bieber stuff that came out, which is, you know, going to, I think Justin Bieber is pursuing legal action against the person who accused him. It happened a couple of days ago where a woman came forward and said that when she was young, he raped her in the Four Seasons Hotel in Austin, Texas, I believe. And then he came forward and provided receipts to show that he was never at the Four Seasons Hotel when she alleged that he was. And then she sort of disappeared and deleted her comments or whatever. So there's obviously questions around the validity of those claims. And, you know, there have been, like, Ashley, you were talking about one with the Riverdale cast that happened.
I'm not sure about the exact details, but basically, like, several of the cast members were accused of some kind of sexually inappropriate behavior, and other cast members were able to vouch for them and essentially be like, this is horrible. Like, actually, one of them said, you know, I'm a victim of sexual assault, and it's horrible to me that someone would make a false accusation like this. And it's just, I mean, yeah, it's
interesting though, because I don't believe in the whole edict of believe women. I believe in the edict of take women's claims seriously. It's like if
that's
someone
originally what believe women was even supposed to mean.
No, but it's the thing with the left and its fucking stupid ass slogans. Like, those slogans obscure the meaning.
They essentialize the slogans.
Yeah, they essentialize the slogans and they obscures the meaning. But fuck that. Like, get rid of believe women. It should be take women's claims seriously. It's like if someone comes to you and says they've been sexually assaulted, you take them seriously. You look after them. You do what you can to make sure that they're feeling safe and heard and whatever. But it's not then up to you to take the law into your own hands in that regard. Like, there has to be due process. And I feel like due process is something that we've sort of lost sight of in this whole climate. I mean, like the whole Amber Heard thing and Johnny Depp, people totally fucking threw Johnny. He lost deals, they fired him, all kinds of things because they believed Amber Heard's claims completely off the bat, when it actually turned out that she was the one who was committing the domestic violence and she was the abuser in that situation. Yeah, we have to take people's claims seriously. If anybody came to me and was like, I was raped, the first thing in my mind isn't to like look at whether their claim is legitimate or not. It's to do whatever you can to take care of that person and to make them feel heard and valid. But when it comes to the actual handling of the legal ramifications, that's not for me to do.
Yeah, and I mean, it all also kind of, you know, depend on, I'm not like, not to sound horrible or anything, but it's going to largely depend on the stature that you have and the credibility that you have in your regarded field as well. Like, I loved Woody Allen films before finding out he was a paedophile, then found out he was a paedophile. That does not kind of make me still hate all of those films that I really enjoyed. I still kind of appreciate those films for what they are. No one can really say the same thing for Chris D'Elia because he's never made a really good stand-up, and he's never been in a good TV show.
My guilty pleasure movie is The Ghostwriter by Roman Polanski.
Oh my god!
Okay,
which is a fucking
love
amazing.
that movie.
It's a really good movie.
He's a great director. He's made a lot of great films.
He has done a ton of really good movies.
Rosemary's Baby is to this day one of my favorite films like ever. Like he has made a lot of great movies, but it doesn't change the fact that he's a fucking pedo.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't mean that I'm gonna, I still don't know all of this voting with your dollars thing, if that really works. I think if someone...
It doesn't. I mean, obviously it doesn't. He's still making movies.